Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Hey everybody, we back again.
Hey, we're back. We're live.
I'm Spencer, your co-host. And of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Hey, Dr. Nas, what's up?
Okay. Remember, don't take us too seriously.
I do. Completely up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to rock those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. Our next guest bridges geek culture and psychology in a way that's powerful and refreshing. She's a bilingual psychologist working with trauma, neurodivergence, and marginalized communities. She also co-hosts Our Oasis Community Podcast, bringing conversations about healing, identity, and representation to the forefront. Please welcome Dr. Sara Roldan.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes. Good to have you. Good to have you. So for today, we're going to be checking out the movie Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers, as they like to call it at the end of the movie. We're going to be talking about shame. We're going to be talking about community, teamwork, depression, and also bipolar. Those are some of the few topics that we're going to be covering today. Naz, anything before we get into the show?
I'm surprised it's such a big thing for mental illness in the show. And then you were saying in pre-production there was a ton in the comic too about it, bipolar disorder and all that. That's wild.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess we're gonna have some really good talks today about depression, about community support, a bunch of different good things. Gonna be pretty sad though, the clips. So some of you that have felt these emotions throughout your entire life probably hit harder when you saw this in the theaters or when you were streaming it. So we're probably gonna get into the nitty gritty of like pain, sorrow, and despair. So guard yourself when you get into the clips because they are pretty sad. Not gonna lie, that last one actually had me tearing up. But should be good. I'm excited. Let's check it out. Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
You gotta say whoop whoop for us.
Oh, sorry. Whoop whoop.
There it is. Perfect.
I did.
I see that. I'm late, but I'm here now.
Daddy, I'm so alone. I don't have anything anymore. All I do is sit and look at my phone and think of all the terrible things that I've done, and then I go to work, and then I drink, and then I come home to no one, and I sit and I think about all the terrible things I've done again and
Elena,
again,
stop,
and I go
stop.
crazy.
We all have things that we regret.
No, but I have so many. My first test at the Red Room, Anya, she was just a child. She was so small.
So are you. I know. There were dark times, very, very dark times, but before, you were such a special little girl. Did you know this? You walked into a room, you made it brighter. You felt a lot of joy.
I don't remember that feeling.
You were so kind. Do you remember why you want to be goalie on your terrible soccer team?
So I didn't have to run as much.
No, maybe that too, but you told me I want to be the one everyone can rely on if they make a mistake. that Lena is still in you. I still see her.
I don't.
You're stuck, you're alone, you look only at the bed. When I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
Okay, that was really good.
Aren't you tired of fighting? Let me help you.
Holt, are you seeing this?
What's this?
Oh no.
It's done.
Follow me! Go, go, go!
You're safe, little one.
Please find more drugs. And there was this guy started talking to me about a medical study, a trial drug that can make me stronger. Felt like a miracle. I'd finally get to show everyone that I was more, that I was something. And look what you unleashed. I'm shameful thing of all was thinking you could be anything more than nothing.
We're leaving.
No. Stop. Just let them go. You think they care about you? You don't matter to anyone.
That's not true!
Don't hurt her. Robert, the hero. I'm stronger than you. Let's see. Get up, Bobby. You thought you were gonna be some great man? Some savior? Can't even save yourself. We will always be alone.
Stop! This is what you want!
Hey everyone, I wanted to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Two Nerds Candle Company. Not only do they have great products, but they are also giving back to a great cause. You can tell that they take a lot of pride in making their candles. My favorite is Spock's Monday Coffee. They are also donating 10% annually to support Women in STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. You can use our code DSP or go to our link tree to get 20% off your entire order. We think that this company is great, and we think you will too. So go check them out. And we're back again.
Hey, we're back. We're live. I got hella stories to talk about. So let's get into it.
There you go. So, like I said, we have our guest on today. So would you mind giving our guest just a little bit about you and just your background, just in the mental health field?
Of course. So, welcome everybody. I am Dr. Roldan. I'm a clinical psychologist. Actually, I'm not a psychologist yet. I need to sit down for my license exam. So, but you can call me therapist, but I'm not your therapist. Nothing that we're saying here is a relationship between you and the clients. But what do I do? As you can tell, I'm a proud neurodivergent person. I suffer from dyslexia and ADHD all my career, all my life. But that was kind of like my superpower. So for any neurodivergent folks out there, if I can make it to be a doctor, I mean, we all can't. It's just about the tools that we utilize. So because of that experience, and also my being too national, meaning I immigrate to this country, so I bring a lot of the roots of community. Community in my country is everything, right? Without community, we don't build anything. And then I came here, and here is a very individualistic society, so I have to relearn to do that. And one thing that saved me was video games, comics, and D&D, because you bring different communities in there. And how did I translate that into my practice? So I work for two private practices, shout out to them, that work with video games and comics in a way of doing therapy. So, I work with active duty first responders and chronically ill or terminally ill. And those are very heavy topics, right? But when you talk with a comic book about the hero or the anti-hero going from the same things that you're going through, it's easier to do therapy with you. And then with the kiddos, they feel more represented because the movie has the vocabulary that they don't have yet to express how they're feeling or to express to their parents how they're feeling. And then I teach at San Diego State University. I teach psychology of comics, and I teach leadership through video games. So I utilize video games and comics to do retention in community. And in the side, I have my podcast, Our Oasis Community, that is basically just an oasis of different techniques and different walks of life that give you whatever you need. Because we all not need a life coach or a therapist. Sometimes we just need a good laugh. Sometimes we need a good D&D recommendation or a good comic book. And I also have a TEDx talk that talks about how you utilize different video games as a form of therapy in different levels of depending of the illness.
So with all the
Mm.
controversies happening today, gun violence, all that fun stuff that we don't really, want to change at all. In your eyes, do you think, because this is also a point that some people on the far right want to say, do you think that video games have an effect on us in a negative way, and then that could create some bad tensions, or do you think that's all bullshit?
So video games are a tool. So because they are a tool, they only can enhance something that is in you. So if you are already in a community that is very extremist, you will tend to be a little more extremist with it. Now, do the video games, we do have a lot of chauvinistic and a lot of mouth and some bullies? Yes. But we also have a lot of communities that take care of each other. There is this project that is called the Pinky Promise Project, which is in the video games community. There is a mental health group where if you're struggling with your mental health, but you don't have either the resources or you cannot go to the nearest hospital, they stay with you playing video games for 24 hours, 72 hours until the crisis pass. So, video games are actually extremely helpful, but they are not a substitute for parenting, for community, or for going and touch the grass. What do I mean? So, cognitively speaking, when you practice video games, you are practicing skills without the consequences of losing your car, your license, or something like that. Also, they are very affirming when you are experimenting with your sexuality, when you're experimenting with being the good guy, the bad guy, the thug, etc. So when they're utilized in as a tool, they don't produce violence. And actually, this research, and I can send it to you later, that proves, aka disproves, that video games don't create more violence. So,
You know, that's what they're trying to say these days is that the video games are causing mad violence, and
I've
they've
been
been
saying
saying
that
that.
for like 30 fucking years now.
I
So
know
Yeah.
rap music
Yeah.
causes all the thugs and the violence and all that shit.
Yep.
Is what they want to say, you know.
Once upon a time, when I used to do my internships in forensics, I actually utilized Sims, the video game, that is very violent and blah, blah, blah. I will utilize it to teach consequences of crime because a lot of our kiddos that are in these predicaments, they are because they didn't have community support. The only thing that was normal for them is join the gang or join this or you die. So in order to understand the consequences of the desensitization of shootings or even gun control, you teach them what they do in this. I mean, if you saw what happened, what has been happening, you can go to any of the apps and you can see shootings. And that is more traumatic than actually having in a controlled environment such as the video game. Also,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the responsibility of the video game that's why we rate them. We rate if they're rated R, if they're rated this and that. Is the responsibility of the adult that provide that for the child. And that's always my invitation to parents and adults. Play with your kiddos while they're playing. Yes, they also will say, for example, if you have Roblox or any of the fun little games, they say there is a lot of pedophiles in there. I was like, they will go where the product is. So, we have it in churches, we have it in schools, because that is where the product is. So I believe more in creating education programs, which we do have. We have great nonprofits that are working in educating parents and in educating students and people that plays video games.
Okay.
Mhm.
I just think that like we always want to blame, like, this is actually probably one of the in times of history, and especially in video games, this is probably like the least amount or like we've actually had of like putting street violence into video games and stuff like that. Like back in the day, you used to have like tons of games that like 50 Cent's game, GTA, like all those games
Saints
used to
Row.
have like some type of street violence or gangs and stuff like that in there. And nowadays, you don't even have that anymore. Like, you don't
Right.
even have people even talking about that stuff anymore in video games, which is always interesting because I mean, it's still part of culture and it's still part of
Mhm.
life, but we're just not portraying it anymore because we think like all these little white kids are going to all of a sudden start being gang members and stuff like that because they think it's cool or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just think that you can't be blaming video games for these things, but at the same time, like when you have actual threats in like Roblox, for example,
Right.
that game has actually been in trouble
A lot.
a lot
For
like
real?
recently because they're allowing pedophiles to be on the game.
No, I heard
Mhm.
about that. That's what they're getting in trouble for, Spence?
Yes,
Yeah.
because they also were getting in trouble, people who were like actually exposing the pedophiles in there and getting them banned off of the game.
Right.
And then Roblox decided to get rid of those people who were actually showing like the bad things that were happening on Roblox.
Right.
And they decided to punish those people instead of the actual like pedophiles who are, trying to coerce children into
Well,
whatever.
and you have to also think about the
Careful.
accent media that we have, because at the end of the day, you also have to remember that they are businesses. They have been taken over by businesses, right? You have Meta that does the same thing, right?
Hmm.
The censorship of one versus the censorship of others. Think about the news. Depending what channel you see is what you absorb. My thing is more like the platform, because if we're gonna do that, and this is gonna be controversial, so this is not to offend anybody, but if we're gonna do that, then are we going to blame also church?
I mean, I think we should. I
Right, but
I
we
don't think
don't.
there shouldn't be.
Right.
Well, I mean, we don't, because we don't have any type of like
Power.
governance over that,
Right.
but we actually do have some type of governance over these companies that could be like, hey,
Right.
you probably shouldn't be, we should probably be blocking down these people instead
Well,
of, you know,
right,
doing
right. But then it's like, and I'm not defending it, not at all, but it's like they don't have the infrastructure to prevent like, play chicken, right? Like, how to catch the predator. If you don't have the training or skills, you can actually ruin somebody else's life too. You know what I mean? Like some of these ones, they were very, and I'm not defending Roblox. They have history. But what I'm trying to say is about the prevention that you have for kiddos. We don't have that. We don't have those preventable factors for parents and kids. Like I
Yeah.
have to give you an example. I have when we do our workshops and how to treat kids and stuff like that in video games and why not. The first thing that the parents do is like they just open the thing, let the kids there, and I tell them, have you played the game with the kid? Have you explained them how to do this and that? Because bad people is gonna come no matter in what shape or form you are, and it's normally not the ones that look scary. Um, but I believe more in education versus punitive stuff because also you have some 13-year-old, which it was another case that you can see that it was pretending to be one, and it just got really, really ugly for them. So it's like you say, kids are gonna play pretend, but they always are gonna be at risk because they're a product. And so you have to think, do we punish everybody or do we start educating people to be able to
I,
reform things?
I assume reform, but also help the kids identify things, but also
Mhm,
still allow people to get kicked off a platform.
mhm.
Spencer, I've actually had a lot of clients that have dealt with this. So I don't remember
Yeah,
this during
me
when I
too.
was playing video games.
no.
And then now my clients are like, yeah, man, this shit's happening on like Minecraft and Roblox.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like wild stories of sextortion. And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit. So, right, I'm growing up in Call of Duty and Dreamcast and all that shit. I mean, you having like, you get the old school games, nothing's happening. You get the
Yeah.
online games and people saying horrible racist shit,
Hmm.
but there's never any fear. But then again, I'm like a dude, but like there's still some of my people that have been hurt of dudes too. I don't know. I'm surprised about the Roblox thing, but not surprised.
And there is other video games too that, like you have, for example, Never Alone that creates community and
Yeah, I've
teach
heard about
you
that.
about how to um, be with Earth because it's based in indigenous culture. Also, you have like Omori that teach you how the cycles of depression and how to get together. You have Greece, which helps you with grief. So, I think
There's a
it's
lot
more
of good
about
stuff too.
yeah, about informing the parents and mostly it's teaching the kiddos how to protect themselves because fear doesn't protect. Fear just creates more problems. Think about all in our days, we didn't have active shooters in our schools. The most that we did it was earthquake drills, and that was like a good day to go outside. Now I have
Sure.
kids in college that they hear an alarm or anything, they're all jumpy because your brain doesn't distinguish between this is a drill versus this is reality, or this is just desensitization to the point that you don't even move. So I would say with the video games, it's almost the same. That I think consumption drives a lot of all these things too. And to be even more controversial, you can say the same about the DSM. When we do diagnoses, is governed by the chill pills, by pharma. So I think it's not so much the medium as much as the who governs the medium, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna pivot us to something else, and then Spencer, I'll kick it
Hmm.
to you. Have you ever heard of that guy, the healthy gamer guy? The I
Hmm.
think is the Indian guy, right? The Dr. Khan? No, Khan? No, Dr. K.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. K.
You got any thoughts on him? I know a lot of my clients watch his stuff. You don't have to
Yes
say
and
anything
no.
controversial if it's up to you.
Right, right. So my thoughts are reserved. It started with a great idea and like everything got commercialized
Yeah.
and lost the point. To the point that, and this is the part I'm saying, right? When we demonize something, either good or bad, when we make something the enemy, we stop learning and understanding why this happened. And that's what, like I said, like I love the Thunderbolts movie too, because, they were already categorized as the bad guys. They have bad presence, they have bad things, they cannot be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
And with the doctor, yeah, he has, and again, you have to think he's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So right there, you already come with a bias of like, not so much of healing, but it's like, this is the bad thing, and this is how we fix it. When in reality, it has more nuances than that.
Spence,
That
he's like the top of the line. He's like the most famous gamer
Mhm.
therapist guy there is now.
Right.
Millions of
And
followers, streamers, all that stuff.
right. And he even have courses that cost tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to go and get trained in how to prevent addiction
Yep.
in gaming.
Addiction, depression, yeah.
Right. Which, do you have addiction in gaming? Yes. Do you have addiction in alcohol? Yes. Do you have addiction in anything else? Yes. So I don't think it's so much the medium. If that is the case, we're more addicted to our phones than anything else. The dopamine hit that we get by those, you know? So my perspective is more in the middle.
Right.
I'm not one to believe to, and it's not because I play video games or anything. Don't get me wrong, we have way things to fix and learn from it. But when we start demonizing one side as the good side and the other side as the bad side, we miss all the half
Is
of
that
the
what
people.
is that what he does or no? And
Oh
then we
yeah,
can pivot. Oh, okay. See, I have no idea. I've
yeah,
only listened to a couple things. One of my kinds put me on it, and then it pops up in my algorithm all the time.
right.
And so I saw
I
also
mean,
some sketchy stuff how he got really close to one dude and the dude ended up killing himself.
mm-hmm,
I was like, holy shit, this is really
mm-hmm,
inappropriate. But now he's
right,
like the guy, the biggest gamer, professional
right,
gamer guy there is. So I
right,
just wondered if you heard of him and then you're in the middle on him. I'm definitely in the middle on him. Some of the
right,
stuff he says, I'm like, man, this is way out of context.
right. And
Yeah.
you have to
Okay.
remember, it's a business. Always remember where is the root of that.
Oh,
It's
he
a
making
business.
money. Yeah, he making
Oh
money.
yeah.
All right.
And the other, the gatekeeping too, right? You have to have this many degrees in order to be in this module versus in this other module in his academy. So
Okay.
it, yeah, it's a little preparatory, but what school isn't?
All right. Kick it back to you, Spence.
Yeah. How did you start your podcast? And what would you say was like a surprise that you had like in the conversations that you've had out of that space?
So my podcast started out of a necessity of the so when COVID happened, life coaching exploded. And
Yeah.
then ChatGPT exploded. And I'm not one to go again, I'm not one to go and like you are a bad thing for
So
making this.
can I ask
Mhm.
you something real
Of
real
course.
quick before you get into it? So what would you say in your opinion, maybe you think both, but what would you say is more useful to people nowadays, especially? Like, would you say AI therapy or would you say like life coaching? Like, what would
Mm.
you say would be like something that's more important for people to have?
Well, that is a loaded question in the sense that it doesn't have context. I will say why. So AI will lie to you whatever you want to put on it. Actually, I think it's extremely dangerous to do mental health with AI. Because AI has hallucinations. Also, there has been cases already. There is studies now. Everything that I base it in research because you cannot defute facts. And even facts, when you defute them, it's because we have more knowledge of other things. So with AI, we have cases of people committing suicide because it doesn't have the nuance of reading the state of mind. So if somebody says, hey, I don't feel very good and I want to jump from this bridge, it gives somebody all the tallest bridges and which ones you will be successful to jump because that's what you ask, right? I have another one that says, what is the best way to, end it without leaving trace to do fraud for insurance? You give it an answer. So is that helpful? I don't think so. Because when I have other people and I know and I feel for her. One of the persons is a really famous TikToker that talk about how they fall in love with the psychiatrist and why not. Guess who gave them the idea to put the TikToks? AI. So in that sense, I would say AI is a tool to give you ideas, to change your writing, like a little supporter, but not for mental health, because the supporter is going to give you whatever view you want. Again, taking it again to the Thunderbolts, it's almost like the void is AI. Is AI evil? No. But if we're not in a good state of mind, it's not going to help us. Now, life coaching, that's a different story. Life coaching is a business, and as a business, it preys in people's pain and need. Do therapists and mental health providers are overwhelmed? Yes. Do we have a lot of rules? Yes. But we have a lot of schooling. Is older schooling the best? But you're comparing 14 years of schooling for 6 months, and that's the ones that are certified. The ones that are not certified, because I can wake up today
Most
and
of
say,
them are
I'm a
not
life coach.
certified. Most
Right.
of them are not certified. They're just like,
No.
it's wild.
I wake up today and I am a coach of coaches, or I am this. And just to see that I don't judge without knowing, because I'm very good about, like, okay, if I don't know what I'm judging, I can't.
Facts.
I have to be neutral. So I joined once a coaching thing, but it was for business, and I was like, okay, this is like the Pyrex Herbalife kind of thing. It was like a pyramid scheme at the end of the day, and I started laughing because I was like, okay, you can only teach me what it worked for you, but I'm not blonde, I'm not tall, I'm not blue eye, I'm not this size, so it's not gonna work for me. The marketing portion, oh, absolutely beautiful. And that's why I start my podcast, because the misinformation. So in my podcast, you will see that I don't demonize neither. I bring all walks of life. I brought a life coach. I brought a therapist that become a coach, because for the same reason, there is a lot of problems in our systems of mental health systems. Also, how from all doctors, therapists and psychologists earn nothing, like if nothing, and then you get demonized if you go to private practice because you're not serving the communities, so all those nuances is what it create the need to know, like I want to know. So all my guests, I have a guest that is like a nurse that does chakra healing. So, like I was like, how? Tell me more, and I let the public to grab what they need and discard what they not. And mostly one thing that you will find out with me is that I accept you whoever and whatever you are or who you are, as long as we have a space to accept everybody else. So that's piggyback to Dr. Nas when he was asking me about the gaming, the happy gamer. That's what I a lot of the notions I don't like, because they're very like, you cannot belong to us, you are damaged, you are bad, and that's what I don't do. um that the life coaching is a business, I mean, look, the Robbins, like for example, like Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins is a
Are,
law
are they married
degree.
or no?
No.
No, they just happen to have the same last name or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but Mel
Grifters
Robbins
all
is
the same, I guess.
a law degree. She has a law degree. She has gone through a lot in her anxiety and ADHD walk, but that doesn't, it's such a slap in the face for people that doesn't come for the social economic status, for people that doesn't have the same structures that she has. And then don't let me start with that whole let them. So in Our Oasis Community, what we do is I teach you, or my audience, I teach them the different levels that you can have things. For example, it's not the same when you have a cold to go to the doctor versus you have pneumonia. You're gonna get different approaches depending on what is the alignment, right? So did life coaches help? Yeah. When you are in a different state of your life, when you need a little push or an accountability body, or you want to pay for a group of friends that think and look like you, sure. But when I'm struggling with my mental health, when I'm struggling with my favorite is the one that says, I'm a trauma coach. I'm like, how long do even me, 14 years of training, I still training every year more and more for the new nuances that comes from trauma. And when I ask who trained you, they will say, oh, I took a course online and I got this. I'm like, okay, so you're trauma informed. That's not trauma therapist. And the rest of that is like they cut people open and they leave them open. Do therapists don't do that? Some do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the truth. Some do, because in all professions, you're gonna have people that join the profession for the money, not for the healing.
Pretty sure I just cut someone open today in group therapy. Girls, I told my dad this story. He's like, I'm about to throw up. He's like, shut the fuck up. But she was crying in that voice, Spence. And when them snot rockets came out, and I said, damn, girl, I can taste that one. That was salty as like an oyster coming out of that thing. She damn near vomited. It was hilarious. I put it back together and we affirmed the hell out of her, right? But in that moment, have you ever met someone, Doc, where they're crying so hard, but they're also like laughing and giggling like they're a psychopath? Those
Yes.
ones are wild.
The best. Those are the best.
I'm like, girl, stop chuckling. And everyone just like, and I'm like, it's fine. She's fine. Just let her.
You
Just let her
know,
do it.
there is this thing in trauma that we say, and again, bringing it to the movie that I love is that it's not so, it is what happens to you, but the most injuries that you have is how people reacted to what happened to you.
Yeah.
When you normalize something like having snot and try to vomit, because some people, ugh, right? But kids eat boogers. So, you know,
I eat
depends
boogers.
depending of the view. But yeah, the difference is like if you and I open somebody and something bad happens, we go to jail and we lose our licenses. When a coach hurts somebody, which I have a close friend, unfortunately, lost a lot of things, including almost their life due to what the coach was saying, is nothing happened. Other than I block you in TikTok or in Instagram or in the app, sorry, or in the apps, I block you in the apps and nothing happened to you.
Wild.
I have somebody else that when I was going to those groups, it says, oh, they told me I plagiarize this. I didn't know copying this and that was plagiarism. And I was like, are you serious? But and then I remember you have coaches that are 18 years old, 21 years old. So they honestly don't know that that's plagiarism and that is bad
I see that.
because somebody else told them, ChatGPT, that they can write a book, they can write this. So this new era of anti-intellectualism is a little scary, but it's not new. We have gone through this back in the 60s when all rights were stripped from people, my people, and high schoolers from LA are the ones that walk out and say, this is not fair, but nobody knows about that because the history has been erased a little by how it's told. But you know where the history stays? Is in the comics. Read all the comics, depending on, for example, Wonder Woman, Superman. If you read the comics, you will see the change in how the police acts, how the detectives act, how they even dress. It's a master class of history in a quiet way.
All right. Spence, you got any other questions for us?
So what would you say? What would you say is something like a myth or about therapy or just like pop culture based healing that you would just love to debunk right now?
That's a good
A
one.
myth.
A myth on pop culture based healing. Because I know people be shitting on me when I'm talking about it.
Why I have you one better, Spencer. Tell me one
Mm.
that you think, and I will do.
Oh, fuck, I don't even fucking know. That would go to the fuck.
I think a lot of people think that it's just for kids. I think one of the biggest things they think it's for kids. I think that they think pop culture based things, video games, comics. I think this podcast, it'll only work for like young individuals, kids. And
Oh,
that's just my personal experience. And so a
Got
lot of
it.
folks will look down upon me like I'm less intelligent or my clients are less intelligent, when in fact I've used this shit with tons of millennials and people that are older. Everyone
Gotcha.
watches this stuff. It's some of the biggest branches. That's just mine. You can find your own. Are there any myths that you see in like your business, your practice, or are there any microaggressions you've experienced? That's why I think he's getting at microaggressions
Got it.
that you
Got it.
experience or myths. But mine is they think it's like, oh, that's not going to work. I'm like, bitch, that works now. What are you talking about?
One of the main myths that you will find in therapy is that all therapists are created equal. And that's not true. The same way that not all humans are created equal, meaning we have cultures, we have people that has been systematically oppressed. And if you go to a therapist that has been trained in a not systematic oppressed system, it's gonna tell you, oh, here's some coping skills, journal about it, and just take deep breaths. And sorry, my language, bitch, I don't have a house. I'm being chased.
Why she
My
got no
family,
house? I'm joking.
right. Like, I don't have, so two examples. When I first came to this country, right? I came in a day that everything was bananas, but one time I went to social worker, and the social worker, the first thing that says, how many kids you have? And I look her like, none. Well, you should have some, that way you can get some resources. And I was like, wow. Now let's flip it to coaching, right? In coaching, they do the same. They say, how much you make? And we're like, oh, I don't make more than 50K a year. Oh, yeah, I cannot be your coach. I only do 6 figures, people. So one of the myths is that you're gonna go to a therapist and immediately you're gonna match and you're gonna be forever and ever. No, you have to try different therapists and even different styles of therapy, which that is what it means pop culture. In pop culture therapy, or fandom therapy, or tools that we utilize to have a buy-in, right? Um, it's not for, it is for everybody for one simple reason. We all have once upon a time joy to play, and we lost it. Because now we are to worry about work, we are to worry about surviving, we're to worry. We're worried from A to Z. But when you give them a space to be free, no matter your culture, no matter your economic status, you can play. Because to play, you don't need any of that. And I can give you, for example, like Spencer, I will give you a super fancy, cool Nike basketball anime and you will love it, versus to Nas, I will probably give him something more cozy, something more that talks to his inner child, or something
Yeah.
more subversive.
Let's
For
talk to
me,
Little Nas. What does Lil Nas have to say about that?
I feel like I know what she wants to say. She's like, I'd give him something more gay affirming.
I mean,
This is an inside joke. I'm not actually gay, but
well, that's up for debate, really.
Every
I mean,
podcast.
well,
Yes.
well, for that, I will say I will give you something that is more sexual nuance, which you can explore all of it.
see, he's already happy about it.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So,
See?
or in my case, you will have something that is like more affirming. So the microaggressions is like, are you kidding me? I'm the most well, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but whatever. I'm the one of the most beloved professors for two reasons. When you see me come into the classroom, you see me with pink hair. And you're talking about I'm teaching Homeland Security courses.
I know.
And then I go and teach the freshmen. And then I go teach the future therapists. And they look at me like, is that professional to wear your hair like that? And I was like, how is my hair gonna affect how I gonna teach you or how I gonna perform? Actually, having my hair like that is a way to be against the systems that have oppressed me. Because if you think about it, using a suit or dressing a certain way professionally in a session as a therapist, it has nothing to do with how I do therapy. It has to do with the beginning of our therapy history. It was Freud, which it was male, Caucasian, and addict that hate women. So when we know history, he did. He did. Like, if you go to psychoanalysis,
I believe you. I believe you. It just was funny. You're just like boom, 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 and hates women. Well, that sounds
he
like.
hates women.
Oh man, I can't say anything because I really don't want to get in trouble with certain things. It sounds like a lot of folks in the news recently. Very religious, hates
Yes.
black women.
Yes, yes. Well,
yeah.
exactly, right? Because I'm a colored person. If I'm assertive, I'm a B. If I am too much, I probably hysterical, or I'm in my period. One of the questions that I have, which thinking is now
You
they don't
women
ask.
always bleeding.
Right. They ask you for your PhDs, in some of them, they ask in a way that is very nuanced. it's illegal to ask, but they still do it. Are you, if you're gonna have kids or you're gonna be married, that is gonna be really hard to have those things, you know? Um, so I have received those. In one occasion, and I always told this story to my students, I was going to receive an award, and it was a very bougie, fancy place, you know, like black tie. The only black tie attire I have, it was a black dress, like Wednesday. And I went like that, you know, with my little braids and like Wednesday because I love Wednesday. And in my little world, I was like, oh, this is how it looks, very cool and professional. All the help was dressed like that, which I don't mind, you know, I don't mind. And all of them were Hispanic or black. And they have this other table, this lady did this to me and said, "Can you get me more bread?" And I look at her like, "Oh, okay." So I went and got her bread and bring her to her.
Holy shit.
I was nice. I was like, "Your ignorance is not gonna affect mine way of living, you know." And so everybody in the table was livid. Well, you know, like, and I will tell you why I did that too.
Do you get her butter
Because-
too?
No, but you have to think, if I would have reacted like I would have in college, I would have
Yeah.
punched her.
Yeah. Well, I don't want you to punch her. You
You
could have been
go
like,
physical violence. I
Oh,
just say like,
I
Here you
would.
go.
no, I don't. I'm not the help. I'm
yeah.
actually
But-
getting an
Here you go.
award,
You immigrants
asshole.
trying to punch people now. You could have just been like,
I
I'm so
no,
sorry,
I go to
ma'am.
extreme.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. Like
Yeah.
I belong here. Go on. We're just
But
fucking with you.
yeah, I know, but see, that's what we have culturally taught, that I have to explain you. I don't.
True.
Like, it didn't took me 2 seconds to like, poor lady, she was in that age that probably she couldn't work that much. So I bring the book read, and people in the table was saying all that and wearing all super upper arms. And then they announced the award. The lady get up because she's the one that is gonna give the award.
She had to give it
Yeah.
to you? She's like, that's the bitch that brought me my bread.
Right. So I come up and I say, "How was the bread?" And oh my gosh, she completely flipped the script, like she was so shame and everything. So what do I say this story? Yes, of course I could have told her, "I don't work here, blah blah blah," or like, "Excuse me, do you know who I am? Do you know my name? Look at the picture," right? But then I was like, how do you think I earn more social equity for my people and for me? Also, I did two things. A lot of people that saw that interaction, now they know, they form
Yeah.
an opinion of her.
Yep.
Versus they will call me regardless if they believe in my race or not, or if they believe I'm capable because of this and that. They will call me because one thing I showed them in that moment. In that moment is, I can remain calm and collected even when somebody is degrading me and stuff like that, which in this kind of places that I work with, you have to. Out of that, I got contracts with the military with my pink hair. You know how fun it is going to the military when and stuff like that, and like they look at you like,
I don't know if
"Ma'am."
you still getting them contracts from the military. I don't think Head's gift or whatever the hell his name is. I don't think he's hiring you anymore, homie.
But you know, like the mental health, it has changed a lot in there too.
Yeah.
And you need to, so for pop culture, you need to see one to be one. And what is
Facts.
beautiful about our heroes or anti-heroes, they represent spaces of our timeline. And no matter if you are um black, white, or not, you can relate yourself to, for example, Sally or Jack, or more kind of nuanced characters. Or, for example, right now, crypto. A lot of people struggles with the whole notion that we love our dogs more than we love kids sometimes. And crypto is one of the representations of that. That what is like, we want unconditional love. What happens to these communities that we have here? We don't have any. We're so individualistic that we pay coaches to get into a community. We pay people to be friends with us, like AKA sororities and fraternities, because we're in that search of being accepted. But when I don't accept your trespasses, but in a healthy way, you know, like the lady, I didn't need to humiliate her. Did he humiliate me? Only if you accept it. You know, Granted, there is other occasions that you have to put like a B and stuff in here. Also, read the room, as they say.
Yeah, read the room.
What it will mean, yeah, read the room. What it will be more damaging for not just me, but anybody that comes after me, right? Is in a lot of rooms we're not invited at all, at all. And when we are invited, it's the responsibility of the first ones to make sure that many of us can come after. One thing that I always say to all my students and all my speeches and everything is I always present myself. I am dyslexic. I have attention deficit disorder, or I'm neurodivergent, and I'm part of the good guys and the bad guys, meaning I am half Mayan, half Hispanic and Latina, or I am a therapist and I work in government. Like, so when you put it like that,
Yeah.
people feels less threatened by you.
Yeah.
And they know you can hold their pain or their shame.
Valid. I'm going to pivot this in another direction before we get into the movie. Spencer normally asks this: what's your favorite MCU character? But specifically, you can pick whatever your favorite character is, and which one you think has the most interesting, like mental health, like background, like illness, malice background. But pick your first character first. Like, who's your favorite character? In all of Marvel, it doesn't have to be the new MCU universe.
Well, that's not fair. Because, that's like picking your
we got to choose.
Nope,
Your
you gotta pick
neurodivergent
one.
ass has to choose.
Yep.
Well, okay.
Gun to your favorite plushie's head.
No.
Well, in all
Spencer, I have so
honesty,
many things
actually,
to say, and I
my
can't say them.
faves are more like anime than anything else. I do anime, and
It's fine.
if I must pick my favorite,
Why are you? Yes. It's
You
the
have to-
question. What is your favorite? Let's get.
Favorite Marvel character, and you
Stop
can do
trying
anime.
to get out of it. Like,
Yeah, you
just
can
say it.
you can do anime character afterwards. What's your favorite character? You can just make up one. Just say
Stop
Jeff.
trying to sidestep. Like,
It's
just
Jeff.
go for it.
It's Baby Shark.
Baby Shark, yeah.
I feel like your head went blank of all the characters in Marvel. That's what happens to
Mhm.
80s.
No, I'm going in the list.
This one's
for-
purple. Sorry. I got her.
A Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch because the
White woman,
grief
nice.
and a woman and how a lot of like motherhood and people has lost children or the ability of have kids or just your own childhood. Her whole arc talks about that and how demonized it is that she was grieving. So that will be one. The other one it will be Bob. Bob in this one in the Thunderbolts.
See the dad?
Such a great piece of addiction, mood disorders, and redemption. And of course, I mean, and this one is biased because I like the actress more than anything. Helena in the Thunderbolts. I mean, her accent, her witty jokes that nobody gets because the accent. She's my favorite.
Is Helena, that's Homegirl's sister, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's the sister. And also
I just want her to beat me up. I don't know what type of fetish that is. I just want her to kick my ass.
She and if you notice her character or like her characterization, they didn't make her super skinny. They made her normal. Like she's a normal woman. Like she is just a woman. And not only and not only that,
I want her just to crush my head with her legs. I'm sorry.
I worked for a while in human trafficking, and her story is the story of many women
Okay.
and many children. So she holds a very awesome place in my heart because a lot of them they cannot get out of that life and they get demonized for it, and that's why I picked the little scene that when she talk, because you just feel empty inside. How do you do that with that? And that has not changed in our society and how women are seen and as an object of either fetish or pleasure or sexual when we are more than that, which you two did, but it's okay.
Hey, I said I want her to kick my ass. That's fine. I'm not sexualizing her.
Hey. A beautiful woman. What am I gonna say?
Hey, I sexualize men too. Let's get
She's
it
a
straight.
badass, but
Yeah.
she's also very pretty. I don't give a fuck what do
Yeah.
you want me to say. Like, they didn't pick her because she was like, you know what? She has a nice personality. Like, no, no. They fucking picked her
Bob.
because she's a very good actress.
I love
and
me
she's
some
also very
Deadpool.
good looking. So let's not try to fucking act like they didn't have that in there. All right.
Anime character. What's your favorite anime character?
Toro.
What's that from? Is that from the movie?
Spirit Away, Studios Ghibli.
Okay. Any specific
Studios
reason
Ghibli
why?
is like Disneyland of
Any specific reason why that's your favorite anime character?
he centers in the mindful moments of day to day, in just how you eat your soup, how you walk through the flowers, how you take a deep breath. And it's about the little moments that make a life.
Okay.
Mhm.
Does homeboy actually eat soup?
The movies are all about a lot of food
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you just watching him, like, look at him eating that soup. Yeah.
Well, in anime and manga, food is a strong relation to community.
Okay. There you
Mhm.
go. All right. Well, that should help us pivot into the actual show now.
Yeah. So Thunderbolts. This is all about it's actually Yelena's story. It's all about depression, community, family, as well as addiction, as you were saying before. But they really honed in on Yelena's story on this one because she's been going through a lot. Her sister died again, and she lost her again due to her not being able to come back from Thanos's after he killed her. And then also, or actually after she sacrificed herself. But it's her, and the first scene that we have of her is that she's pretty much talking about how she just goes to work, goes on her phone, and then she just feels like she's empty inside, and then she's very depressed. Obviously she does great stuff, kicking ass when it comes to like doing her job, but it's just become so just the same thing, repetitive over and over and over again, and she just feels like she's empty inside. She's not doing things for the right reasons. At this point she's still like a mercenary, and she hasn't become like a hero yet, but and then she also hasn't talked to Alexei, her father figure, in like a year also. And so she's dealing with that, and she's ready to just quit her job and just be done being a mercenary and just try to do something else. And, then all of a sudden they all come together, the Thunderbolts, to pretty much try to kill each other. But then they team up, right? The classic team up. And they finally, as they're kind of going through this, they also meet Bob, who was going through these experiments to become a superhero. And he was mainly doing it because he wanted to change himself. He wanted to feel better, right? And unfortunately, the serum or the drugs that they gave him didn't help that. But then all of a sudden he has these superpowers. And so once you mix in the mental health issues that he was having, he was also abused as a child by his dad, as well as he was an addict for drugs and probably alcohol as well. You mix all those things in, and then you give him superpowers, not going to get a good result from that. If we learned anything from Megamind, if you give great powers to somebody who's just maybe isn't ready to have those powers, it can go very badly, right? So then all of a sudden we have he was supposed to be Sentry, and then he, in the movie, he was also killed. Spoiler alert. He was killed, but then he turns into the Void, where he just turns people into shadows, essentially. In the comic books also, in the comic books, they also do it the way they have Doctor Strange come in, and then they erase everybody's mind of him, because then he doesn't know who the Void is. And then so he won't be able to turn back into him. They had to change that because of No Way Home, Spider-Man, the last film, because they already did that with Peter Parker. And so they pretty much just gave him amnesia, and they're kind of hoping he just doesn't remember what the void is, so that then he won't turn the world into darkness. Great film. Great film. I thought they did an amazing job, not just with the mental health aspects, but then I also thought they did a great job with characters in general. Like none of the characters really changed from who they were in the past movies, which I also like because they continued it on. I also believe the director for this film is also going to be directing X-Men, the new one. And so that's going to be pretty dope, especially with all the stuff going on with them. But what made you, obviously this is like more of a mental health movie than just like a Marvel movie. It's a mental health movie masked with Marvel in it, right?
Yeah.
What about this movie really spoke to you, and what was the one scene that really got you to like really click in to this film? Because when I first saw the previews, I didn't think it would be going this deep into mental health.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I thought it'd be all goofy. I didn't think there'd be any deep scenes at all. I thought it was just going to be like, here we go again, another Marvel movie where they just make it all fun and jokes instead of actually having a serious topic. So, like, what for you when you first saw it? Like, what was the scene that made you like really click in and be like, oh shit, like this is actually deep?
Well, so the movie was released in Mental Health Month. Just right there, I was like, check. And then when I went to see it, you're right. The previews, they were like, oh, it's just gonna be another fun flop.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
Jesus.
you were like the only thing when you mix all of them and stuff like that. My curiosity was like, wait, they're bringing Sentry and the Void and Bob, and in the comics, he's like all about mental health and mood disorders, etc. So I was very interesting to see how they flip it, how they did it. And I went and see it, and I mean the whole movie, it has little nuggets depending what you're going through or what your story is. But personally, because I work with active duty and first responders and moral injury, the scene of Elena with her dad is summarize a therapy session and how hard it is to say I am alone and I'm done. Because what she's saying in there, without saying in there, I'm ready to give up living. It wasn't that she was going to find another job. There was no other job for her. There's nothing else that she can do. She was trained to do this, a mercenary. So when you take that away, okay, when you become a civilian, what do? There's nothing, just the void. And that is seen just and I have put it to my clients over and over, and you see in them solving in all the things because it hits so hard. And then the other part that a lot of us that has suffered any kind of like trying to explain our families what we're going through when we're going through a depressive episode or what down is I didn't know. And I am so sorry. I'm here for you. That part, that it's just like a minute or two that you see that is scene and the whole theater was bawling. And it was the more cathartic support group therapy session in 2 minutes. So that one was my first one that I was like, this movie is more than what is seen. I was very excited in the sense of all the healing tools that is giving you, because we can have so much compassion for Elena and for dad, depending who you are, right? If you're dad, Elena, or just the watcher, and learning how to feel all those big feelings. And even though that is not my dad, hearing him saying, I accept you and it's gonna be okay. And that little scene when they say, you were a great kid that wanted to help everybody, aka every single therapist out there. So, that one was the beginning of like such a great conversation and feels. The way that she puts the feelings. Oof.
Yeah, I'm a big fan now. Like for the last couple films of Marvel, they've done an amazing job having these female leads just be like just very relatable characters, but also just very like you just feel like you want to be like with them. Like the new Fantastic Four, I thought that was fantastic because they made it they made it into technically Miss Invisible. They made it technically like she is like the star in that
Yeah.
She is.
film, and
It's all about her.
she was. I just loved that film as well because they took these female leads and they made them just so relatable, and I think that goes a long way.
So strong.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
to see that with my niece too. And she's
Yeah.
you're right. It was just awesome to see it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you every single mom or caregiver in there, but
Yeah.
specifically women identified,
Mhm.
bro, I know they felt every single emotion holding off
Yeah.
Galactus at.
Yeah.
There's no way. I'm sure everyone was bawling in that bitch.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was all about her.
Yeah. And I think
I
we're
loved it. It was
entering
good. Go ahead.
we're entering that era of like honoring the female characters and all the nuances that come to it. You know, we have that other like anime movie that is exploring because of that same reason. Three main female characters, strong, and talks about the mental health. And with Elena, the first 5 minutes of the movie, she explains to you what it is to be depressed as a woman and how you're not allowed to. How you're not allowed to have feelings and interrupt anything because you still have to go work. You still have to go do this. She says all her true feelings in the first scenes to this person that just they killed them, and she was like, okay, well, okay, let's continue. You know, like how many of us we have stopped in the cooler or in the coffee shop or in the desk, or whoever, especially now that we work from home, some of us is a little isolating, that we don't have that person, and we just trauma dumping whoever is going to listen to us, that we know that it's not going to come back to us. So that was the first introduction that you have in the movie too. So Elena as character is basically the day-to-day woman that is not allowed to have feelings, that is not allowed to express how damaging it is to feel so alone when you have to carry everything.
So I've been working with a lot of my moms recently.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff. And I might be working with these moms with their kids that are autistic or neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And trying to navigate that space because it's fucking tiring, right? No
Yeah.
knock against the kids, right? It is what it is.
No.
Neurodivergent kiddos, there's much more complexity in taking
Yep.
care of them and making sure that they're good. And so immediately you see these parents, I'm dealing with many parents now, and they just start bawling on you. No, I'm
Mhm.
not their therapist. I'm just going to ask them a couple things, talk about a couple things to make sure they're more affirming. And they're like, I'm the biggest piece of shit. I'm worthless. I fucked up my kid. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm depressed. My relationships are shit here. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Wait a minute. I'm not here I was here to make sure we're good to the kid. And they're like, dude,
Right.
I'm just tired. And then I say or act weird with my kids. And then I feel even more shame and hostility. Then that makes me act even worse towards the kids. There's so many wounded individuals because how tired that they are. So me and Spence been doing this pod now, the new season of guests, not new season, but in the fall, we start all the guests. We've been talking about burnout, passive depression, passive suicidality for almost every podcast now.
Yeah.
This is like a real thing with a lot of women of color because this season's very focused on folks of color.
Right.
My God, every parent I talk to is just exhausted.
Yeah.
Just too much going on.
Yeah.
And then somehow
you
you're
have to-
supposed to like show up and like be lovey and bubbly. And my
Yeah.
moms are just like, I got nothing left.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So I think that's why this character is awesome because she's
Mhm.
tough as shit, but then also she gets to see the vulnerabilities and the sadness and the pain and the hurt and the depression. I think that's what's fantastic for my clients because you can put on the show and that's awesome, but that you rarely get to see like, bleh.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my girlies are
Yeah.
tough as shit. I just got out of my autism women support group that I started. This is literally the
Mhm.
highlight and pinnacle of my career, this group. And they're all strong, badass girlies. Awesome.
Yeah.
They all got stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all looking at each other in group the last 2 weeks. Who's going to cry first?
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple that got choked up and then finally one, I said, kid, you got to do it. It's got to be you. Bruh. The pain that came out today. These women are strong as fuck, man, but it's just suffocating to live with that. So we're about to start talking about it with these characters now.
Yeah.
Hopefully her story arc gets better where she's not as fucking lonely now that she has like this Thunderbolt family. I mean, are they supposed to be a family, Spence, or no?
They're like the new Avengers now, so they're a
Right.
team. So they'll be with like they'll definitely be in like Doomsday, the
Right.
new Avengers film and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean,
Are they building them to be like the other Avengers, like to be like a legit, like they love each other?
they're in like Avenger Tower. I don't know,
Right.
like if they're
Okay,
because like some of the Avengers didn't fucking like each other at
true.
all. So
I guess
like
we'll see
Iron
if they
Man
get
and
that
Captain
family
America.
vibe.
But, yeah,
But
we'll
Go
see.
ahead.
but that is where the villain, Valentina, she in her cruelty, she actually helped them because they become united, right? Like I say, they are a support group for each other because
Yeah.
all of them they have some kind of
Horrible
issue
trauma.
dealing with something, like a whole bunch of trauma that they're dealing with that nobody told them how to deal with it. And then they become all together, and believe it or not, Bob is like their glue. Why? Because they're so worried for Bob, because Bob is the one that has showed so much disarray and so much pain, even though it's almost the same amount of pain that each one of them carries. But because Bob has this kind of innocence on him, they all feel like we can protect him, and he
Oh,
become the glue for all of them. And spoiler alert, by the end, Bob is just human. Like he's just chilling there. He cannot be Sentry. He cannot be the boy. He cannot be anything other than just Bob.
so Bob is
And they,
both. He's
Yeah.
Bob, but then he turns into both characters.
yes,
Yeah.
so they when you see the comic or when you see the movie, you see like his blonde, beautiful self,
As a
which is
good-looking
the
white
stage of
man.
the
Yeah,
mania,
yeah, a good-looking
is
white man.
that is Sentry, right? He's so pompous and super egotistic and all the things. And then you have the
Looks like a white
boy,
man.
which is the main villain that eats everybody with the shadow, meaning you disappear. The representation of the shadows is when you are extremely in that depressive episode. Uh, Everything disappears. Even when people is there, it's not there. And one of the scenes that we will see, you can see that like when he is being consumed by the void, and you see the room making everybody farther and farther away. That is when, if you have family members, they will always tell you, I feel like my kiddo or my loved one is still slipping away. The more that I try to reach them, the farther that they get to me.
Yeah.
So the way that they put that in visual, it was mastered. I also know that they did have a psychologist in the movie, assessing and stuff like that. So that always helps for a lot of movies when you have a consultant that we go and talk. The same with video games that say, hey, that's a little too traumatizing. Let's not put that scene in there. And that's how what it has changed in a lot of industries. But when you show that and you can explain that to a parent, to a group, they're like, oh, I get it now. Because if you tell them, you can tell them until you turn blue. Women, we have done that for decades and nobody listens. But if you put an MCU movie and say, this is how I feel, look at it, then you can understand it better. And that's the power of pop culture when you utilize it as a tool for therapy.
Let's go backwards before we
Mhm.
get to the next scene, and this can be quick too because I want to get to the next scene and then we can get out of here. So, any women struggling like she is, right? She's owning up to her dad. The dad's doing what he's doing, man. I mean, he's trying to show up and he's gassing up on like who you want to be. This is your destiny, blah blah blah. You're awesome. You're a protector. You're very gifted and talented. Anytime I say any of that nice stuff as a therapist, literally people all they do is cry because they've been waiting to hear that shit forever.
Right.
What would be your advice to young women listening to us, although just women in general listening to us, or what would be your advice to her in the movie, or what would you want to say? Not even advice. What would you want to say to the young girlies that are listening to us today, that maybe in her same position, that are just alone, tired, depressed, maybe self-medicating,
Mm-hmm.
regretting the decisions in which they made, maybe with life partners. Obviously, they're not murdering people. Well, you never know. Talked a lot about murder today in group. So yeah, what would you say to them, or what would you say to our listeners?
It's gonna sound cliche, but it is
You're
the
good.
truth. We are not alone. We just have been primed to believe that we are, and that we are going to be judged. Because, like you said, even in the group therapy that you have a powerful women, and I have the same with colored women, we sit together and they don't cry. And they say, and they're like you say, waiting to see who does it first. And I always tell them, why instead of waiting who does it first, we do it together? Because to be honest, we have been always put against each other as women. We have put ourselves against immeasurable amount of pressure to be like the male gaze or the male. And then with each other, we don't lean in each other. So what I will say is you are not alone, and give yourself the compassion that you give to others, because we are full of compassion for other people, not for ourselves though. We self-neglect so badly. And if you need help, there is different groups that you can join, or if you're not ready for a group, there is different movies that you can watch to not feel so alone about that. And that's what I'm saying, the power of pop culture. I can read a book and experience and process a lot of my feelings without have to talk to somebody in the moment. And then I can bring that to my therapist, to my friend, to my group, to my
Cousin,
coach,
uncle, yeah.
to right, to whoever I have, but you don't have to do it alone. You are not alone. I know right now it's a little hard because we don't know who to trust to stay safe, you know? But no matter who you are, we all have been in the struggle of being in the void.
Okay. Thank you. I know a lot of people that listen to us are struggling with a lot of stuff. So they don't come to us for they come to us for
Advice.
resources. They come for us to
Yeah.
laugh on this podcast, to laugh, to talk shit, to be human, to be unmasked, to be
Right.
ADHD unfiltered. But then every once in a while, I do my best to make sure that me and Spence push our guests to actually, what would you tell our guests? And so that was good. The alone for us neurodivergent folks fucks a lot of us up. We talked a lot
Right.
about that today.
Yeah.
And how being alone makes us choose people that are inappropriate or incongruent with the way
Yeah.
that we should be treated or respected, specifically romantically, we were talking about today,
Yeah.
and choosing poor partners. And the
Yeah.
girlies holding themselves accountable to make sure they don't backslide.
Right.
So that was a fun talk today. Even though everyone backslides, it was a good conversation. So thank you, Doc.
Of course.
Let's pivot to the other two scenes, because those one was a little bit quicker than the other. Let's go into the I think everything's fallen scene.
Well,
Spence will go ahead and describe it real quick. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You can go ahead.
Oh, there you go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Spencer.
No. You got it. I'm good.
Yeah, because
Chill.
you actually picked it, so it might be easier for you to describe it.
Well, that is always that scene happens after the most heart crunching scene when Elena's telling Dad, "I need you." Dad say, "I didn't know. I want you." Blah blah blah, and then they have this, hug moment that didn't happen because the sky is falling. Everything is falling, and that's a representation when you have all the feels, and maybe you are in that moment with your partner or your person, like, oh, we have to go take care of our kid. Oh my God, the kid just throw up, or the kid just throw upstairs the other child or something, especially when you're neurodivergent. You have to stop who you are to be the person that you need to be, and everything is falling, and everything is the action scene. And what I like is, because you were like, what do you pick an action scene? One is an MCU. That's why we go watch the movies, because we want badass fighting scenes, right? That they don't look too crappy in CGI, which they didn't. So the scene happens, and you're seeing Elena and Dad going and try to rescue people and rescue the underlings, and then the other ones, Bucky and Captain America and why not, they look at them and they start getting together. And they all together, there's this part where they're holding a wall that falls on them. First it was two, then it was three, and then it was all of them. And what I like about that is because that's when they become a team. That precise moment is when you're like, you know what? We don't like each other. We want to kill each other. We have a lot of issues. We have gone through a lot. And this Bob dude is making our lives more miserable than they're supposed to be. But you know what? At the end of the day, innocent people is dying. At the end of the day, we are going to die too. The fact of life, we all die. How? is what we want to change. And so they become as a one. And then they rescue as many people as they can, and they get claps because they move from the villains because they did something good. And then this little kid is in there, and dad was going to try to talk to the little kid and say hi, blah blah blah, and the little kid disappears with the depression or with the void, which is a representation of how Elena disappeared when she was a child because she didn't have a childhood. So it was a very deep.
Oh shit, you're right.
So like pretty much that movie has so much symbolism when you talk about therapy and therapy theories and stuff like that. But that is when the dump of your stomach when you see the kid just go and dad is like and then everything else happened, and I'm not gonna spoil the rest of the scene, but that is when Elena makes the choice to self-sacrifice for everybody. And you will see it later in the other scenes, but that's why I picked that one because that's when they become a group. They become shamed for not saving everybody, even they save a lot. And when Dad realizes, this is when I lost my little girl.
The way I interpreted it, right? Because my autistic ass sees things differently.
Different.
I see me and my client, Spencer, you, Doc, you're trying to navigate life. And it's difficult. It's terrifying. There's shit falling.
Yeah.
There's this, there's that, there's bills, there's taxes, there's a car accident, relationships that go poorly, good, someone dies, right? And it's just this shit hitting you.
Yeah.
And it's constantly hitting you. I told my dad some stories today, and he's like, Jesus Christ, does it get any better? I'm like, no, it's actually, the story's worse. And I pictured as that. And then finally you get some help.
Yeah.
Finally you get, 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be your eating, your diet, your exercise, your therapist. Maybe you're getting the right affirming care when it comes to your headphones, your fidget toys, the backpack. Maybe I'm helping you write a plan for your school and your college. Maybe I'm helping you with your dog being in your dorm or your house.
Right.
And you start to get everything right. Maybe I even help you get off the drugs or alcohol, whatever the hell it is you're doing. And then as soon as you think it's good and you go to hug the little girl, the part of you that's like, awesome, fuck. And so that's when my clients backslide. That's when the depression happens. That's when the suicidality kicks up.
Yep.
That's when my clients go and they text me late at night, some of them, right? The encrypted chat, and I just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And then I'll send them the big eye emoji because I'm like, watch what you say around me, motherfucker. I will act. And they're like, no, I'm just really sad, really alone. I'm fine. My safety is good. But in those moments of fear and terror, when you finally do everything you're supposed to, and then it still can go bad. My clients right now are still freaked out that they're going to turn into the old versions of themselves, which is super depressed, suicidal, self-harming, whatever it is. So that's what I thought. It was a magnificent scene of fear, then resiliency, then victory, then defeat. Often when I do my talks, and then I'm done after this, often I do my talks, say, life's a miserable son of a bitch. And the girlies go today, it gets better though. And it was like, it's a lie. Someone told you a long time ago. One girl goes, what? I'm like, this shit's terrible. And I'm like, I'm actually being sarcastic. It actually gets much better, but it's going to be a tough road. And this shit's not going to be super easy, especially for our neurodivergent asses. It's not easy. For all these girlies, it's not easy at all. So that's what I thought. Good scene. All of it. I haven't seen it. I thought they were already like best friends and shit like that. I didn't realize that was
the beginning of the beginning of the movie is that whole saying, do you have my back? Hell no, I don't have your back. I ain't have my back. It's that whole mentality that we go for me, and the shame that we have to, because we have to, in order to survive what we have done, to become a group, to become like, okay, I do have your back because nobody else is going to have it. And I know what you're going through because I'm like you. I see a reflection of me in you. And the beauty of the movie is like, depending of your state that you are in or how much you have processed or not processed, you will see the scene very differently. Very, very differently. And, if you and also depending of like if you're neurodivergent, if you are a freshman in college, if you're a mom, you will see it totally different.
Yep.
Totally different. Like I have a mom that got sick. We watched it and it was so angry because like, why he didn't say the baby first? And I was like, he was just saying hi. He was not like he didn't realize that the boy will come and eat it. Um, and also I don't. So don't that also happen when we as mothers we um are so depressed that our kids disappear on us because we don't see them anymore due to the depression that we're going through and stuff. So all that say to this movie is a love letter for mental health and support groups, and you're not alone, especially if you're a female. Because the three main character, the villain, Valentina, she's a female. And talking about bad codependency and picking bad partners and toxicity, the assistant of Valentina, you want to talk about codependency and how to break it and all that. That relationship is a master class of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let's get into that last scene, Spence.
Yeah, so the last scene um has mainly to do with it's like the ending scene essentially, where Bob slash the Void, they're back at the lab where he first got experimented on, and then after that they're just he says to the Void, Bob, he says that he can beat him, he's stronger than him. He starts punching him, the Void, and then all of a sudden, then now he's getting consumed by darkness, and so that's exactly what the Void wanted. The Void wanted him to be consumed by this darkness, so that then nobody can then escape the Void, and the Thunderbolts, they come in and they instead of it just being something where they try to defeat bad guy, they actually show love to Bob, and then just hold him and say like, you're not alone, we're now part of your family. So yeah.
Yes. I know
And that
I was
is
crying.
it, you know, in the MCU we're used to go in and break things and explode things and things like that. That's why you expect as the finale, right? An amazing battle scene. But the biggest battles that we have are the internal ones that we talk to ourselves down. And the fact that was Elena, the one that went and rescued Bob first, it talks a lot about how she has been healing too. Because the relationship of the sentry or the boy and Elena is because both of them are going through the same void of depression. The only difference is that Bob has his split, right? He has been struggling with his mental health since he's a little kid, and then Elena is struggling with it now because all the void and all the heaviness that she has, and uh, everybody got the assignment for people that has suffered so much because in order to be the bad guys, they had to be bad guys because they were put in those positions, right? Think when I saw that, I was thinking about the addicts, about the gang members, about the neurodivergents that they have done self-medication, people that were with the role crowd. All we want is somebody that say, I see you and I'm here for you. And it was each one of them. If in the scene you will see that each one of them come and it will repeat the same thing. Every person that came, Elena will repeat it for every hug. And the part that it also is the consumption of how the anger and the shame and the desperation that Bob feels towards the boy, you will think that he was trying to battle it, but in reality, it was consuming him even more. Because sometimes you have to go through it, as cliche as it sounds, in order to get out of it. Versus if you continue fighting it, fighting it, fighting it, it just will consume you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see his automatic negative thoughts,
Mhm.
the self-hatred,
Yeah.
the sabotaging, right? The distancing yourself from people and your friends and your loved ones, right? And it's almost like this other person, as my girlie said the other day, the voices, I'm not crazy now. It's not. I ain't hearing no
Mm.
voices. I know what you're saying, kid. I'm just making sure. They tell you these horrible things, and you almost have to believe them because you hear them so much and you say them so much, and you might have heard other people parrot it, and then you're like, "Fuck, I am alone, and no one will ever love me. I have no value. I have no worth.
Mhm.
I will accept whatever trash I get."
Mhm.
And I hear that so often all the time, and I believe that as well too in life. I'm not immune to that, and that was devastating to hear him say that, and then to see the darkness take over him, the void
Mhm.
take over. I'm like, oh fuck me, that's what's going on here.
Mhm.
Because right, you're thinking that he's supposed to beat this guy's ass to stop him from killing his friends, right? This is what you wanted him to do.
Right.
I'm stronger than you. I can do this. And then you realize with clients that shaming those dark sides of you, the OCD, the anxiety, the ADHD, the divergence, the autism, which I've been having to work with a lot of clients recently on accepting these things, is tough. And the more you hate it, the more it grows, the more anger, hostility, shame, the more you hate yourself. It just continuously goes and goes. So I've been working with these parents, and these kids finally have peace. They finally have these neurodivergent friends, the weird friends, the goofy friends, the
Mhm.
awkwardly dressed and all that. And they're like, but it's not right. I don't want it. Or my kid's wearing all black, a mom said, or my kid like is dressing like this, right? I got another kid that wants to fucking play Dungeons and Dragons instead of like juice sports. And I'm like, kid, they're not, this is who they are and they're happy.
Mhm.
What will the other people think? What will society think?
Right.
I have to continue to consult these moms, not the dads. I don't really talk to a lot of dads. Well, I talked to one dad. I apologize. I just started this private practice, so I'm not used to talking to parents yet. That's only been
Oh,
happening for like a month or
yeah.
so. I'm like, hey kid, you gotta love the kid, meet them where they're at. And this is that moment where I'm trying to teach people. It's like almost like on the K-pop Demon Hunters, love me for all of me. And she
Right.
screams to her stepma, all of me.
Right.
It's like in me and Spence broke down with the famous rugby girlie, Sam Sullivan, what was
Mhm.
Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
You have to embrace all the versions of yourself, anxiety,
Right.
sadness, all of it, joy.
Right.
And that's where you get the real healing.
Yes.
So homeboy needed a hug. Needed a
A hug
hug.
without judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, without judgment. I fucking hate those hugs when you're crying and someone hugs you. I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
well, I'm just gonna fall apart now. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go fuck myself. Those are the worst cries I've ever had is when someone like touches you kindly or
Yeah.
like hugs you. I'm like,
Mhm.
ah. You can
Like,
hold it in. As soon as
oh,
someone hugs me, I'm
they're
like, no,
right.
I'm done. My big ass is melting. This scene, did you cry during this scene or no?
I cried the whole movie. Like the
Soft.
whole movie, like sobbing ones, not in others. And this one, I was near me. I was making notes because, like, oh my goodness, this is such a Carl Jung therapy session to the finest. Talking about the shadow work that you have to go
Yeah.
and accept all yourself. I was like making notes for my students in the grad program, and I put that scene in. I have like what 200 students in the therapy modalities, and I put this and I say, what is this representation of one modality, right? And all of them, no tear dry in there at all, because no matter who you are and what you have gone through, you understand that if you don't accept even those dark parts of you, which is the theme in the whole movie. The whole movie is about accepting who you are. There is another scene like Elena is with the dad and the dad comes to rescue them. And it's like the most cringy, kind of like, oh, dad, don't drop in the high school kind of thing. You know, when you accept all the parts of you, not only all the parts of you, but also seeing other people that's going through the same things that you're going through, maybe in a different tune or level, and have that compassion. Because all that, believe it or not, that group hug, it was also hug they were hugging their ugly parts too, not just Bob's. And that's what it makes it so beautiful. And yeah, of course, I cry in the whole scene. And my goal now in every single therapy session when I put this movie is like, especially because I have special forces and whatnot, it's like I wait and then they will have for them is like the little tear and stuff. And I say, well, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the Boyd or do you want to be Bob before? And I stop it before, when he's beating the bejesus out of him. And it's the same story. It's the same story, but like, I need to heal by accepting all the parts that I hate so much about myself or the past that I have about myself. Because that is not you, but it's part of your story.
Yep. Another good scene is the one I like to show for years now is the Rocket scene. When Rocket's talking or Yandu's talking to Rocket, like, I know who you are, boy. And it's like, oh, could you me? And they just breathe and just hear them breathing. It's about pushing people away that show you any little bit of love, because any love that you get makes you feel empty inside. It's like, how dare you? That one fucks all my clients up.
It's almost like the K-pop ending. Sorry.
Earlier you made a comment and Spence made a face, and then we can wrap it up here. So you made a comment about Marvel not doing well with like mental health stuff. I believe that Marvel does really good with a lot of mental health stories, with grief, with trauma, with anxiety, with depression, bipolar disorder.
Better.
I feel like they add a lot of sauce. Racism. I feel like they add a lot of sauce in there. Spencer, did you have an opinion on that? Because I know me and you do a lot of Marvel shows.
Yeah, we've done so many Marvel shows about mental health. Like, yeah, maybe they're not like as front and just
in your
face as Thunderbolts, but at the same time, they do have meaning. I mean, look at like Moon Knight. Like that show was all about mental health and like abuse and all the different things he's been through. I mean, look at Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
All the, like, I mean,
we just did Ironheart the other day with the psychiatrist.
Ironheart, that was also mental health. And then, I mean, even with some of the movies, I mean, if you look at even like the first Iron Man, him having to deal with the fact that he was like a shitty person, and then all of a sudden now he's in this role of being like this superhero, and he doesn't feel like he is, but then all of a sudden when he sees people suffering and just being taken advantage of, he says, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do something about it, and then it goes over to a different country and then frees them and all that shit. So
well, I will say the reason why I said that is because is because they do touch on it. I'm not saying they don't.
Okay.
But like you say, they touch so lightly. And in some cases, don't get me wrong, this one is also have their issues, but in some cases, for example, Iron Man, yes, Iron Man, he is dealing with grief, shame, and alcoholism.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's not showing the if you were a full-on alcoholic like he is, he cannot function the way that he was functioning, like, and that's the part that is missing, right? That when you think about people that's alcoholic, you think they're soling themselves in the street, when in reality, there is nuances to it. Scarlet Witch, I think it was, like I say, one of the closest that we had for motherhood and stuff, but that is a series, mostly like just the movie. I was focusing more in the MCU movies because it's only 2 hours, and how you pack 2 hours in that. Do we have shows that portray sometimes the stereotypes of mental illness, like Blue Moon? They do present about the childhood abuse, but the disassociation is completely, absolutely so far-fetched. So if somebody has disassociation, will actually feel more insulted and not seeing than anything else. Which one thing that MCU and a lot of movies are doing great is, like I say, hiring therapists or psychologists to come and say, hey, is this a good, honest representation of what we're trying to do? The comics do a better job, to be honest. In the comics, they spend a little more time, but again, mediums, right? It's like, how did we cram 2 hours in here versus not? And you can say that, and again, because I said before, I love anime. The rave that is right now, Demon Hunter, and the new movie that come out for it, the same thing. Some people is gonna complain that it's too slow, but it's because they have spent a little more time in the development of the psychic of the character. But that's what I said. Like, don't get me wrong, Thunderbolts is in the top of my then Scarlet Witch, like Black Widow. It could have been such an amazing movie when it talks about mental health, because they talk so much about it, but they don't show it. Yeah, they don't show it as as good as they show it for Elena. So that's what I was saying.
Okay, so it's not shown as good, but like I just got to watch the Captain America. A lot of mental health stuff in there, my guy. The sacrifice, the parental breakdown, the depression, the anger, the regret and remorse. Obviously, all the racism.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to that Agatha series too, but we never got to get to it. And that's a lot about everyone's stories and trying to overcome and friendship. And so, yeah, politely, I think we disagreed with it. But like, still fine. It's fine. We all got our own perspective. When I heard that, me and Spencer was like, no.
Well, and like I said, but it's also when you compare, and my comparison is for other mediums that have done it so well.
Much more and well.
So magically.
Okay.
Like, for example, you mentioned it, K-pop Hunter. Oh my God, a masterpiece. To telling in your face what it is to be in shame versus not. And I know you laugh, but for the teenagers and the freshmen, that was a way to heal a lot, right?
Oh, no, I get it. I still think it was pretty nuanced, though, in the way they did it. I still feel very nuanced. Now, I will say the DC characters are very much fucking more intense. Then again, also the series.
Went for darkness with that one. They just go for darker
It's
characters
just pure
because I think it was the offset, like the MCU.
I think so too.
Because they were a little bit lighter, the colors are brighter, and then all of a sudden now you have like these darker characters.
Right.
Even Superman was darker. Like,
right.
Oh, was it?
All he was worrying about was defeating Zod instead of like saving people. And now with the new Superman, I haven't seen it yet, but with the new Superman, seems that it's more in the like kind of lightheartedness of his character of Superman, and that's and that's how he was raised. But
I assume we'll be getting into more of that stuff. Is the Batman 2 coming out, or is that ain't come out yet?
It's coming out in like 2026 or 7, I think.
Did the Penguin get renewed or no?
I don't know. I think it's going to be based off of like when Batman comes out, since that was just like a sequel series for Batman. So I think they're going to try to match it up probably with that. And then there's just so much going on with DC now that they're probably more prioritized with the movies at the moment.
Yeah, we're just
talking and some of the shows. They have a Green Lantern shows coming out soon, I think, next year.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I'm sure we can do one on Peacemaker too. That motherfucker's all fucked up.
Yeah. I've waited to watch the new season only because I want to watch Superman first because it kind of ties in. So I wanted to just watch Superman first before I get into that.
I know all my clients are talking about that new Demon Slayer that's coming out, the movie. Yeah,
K-pop Demon Slayer,
Yeah, they're just the Demon Slayer, right? The movie Demon Slayer, right? Isn't that what it's
Demon
called?
Slayer. Yes, they just came out this week.
Yeah, this week. I know everyone's talking about that. There's a couple other things that clients want me to get to in pop culture wise. Like, bro, I ain't got time for this shit.
Well, the Demon Slayer one is an amazing one when you see the arc of the demon number 3. It's all about like,
wonder how long the series is.
you have the right to be a demon. And people fail you.
I was about to try and give Jujutsu Kaisen another try, but we'll see what happens. I just couldn't get into it, but everyone fucking loves it, so I got to give it another shot. Spence, you got any more questions before we get out of here?
No, I think we're all good to go. All right. What are your plugs? Where can people find you? Where can people follow you at? Where are the socials and stuff like that? Any stuff you got going on? Let us know.
Yes. So I don't know when this one is gonna air, so I'm gonna give you some like plans. You can find me at Our Oasis Community Podcast and Instagram. Also, you can find me in LinkedIn as Dr. Sara Roldan. If you go to San Diego State website, I'm there. If you go to the psychology department. And then I'm presenting in October in Comic-Con Museum here in San Diego about Doctor Who and STEM and AI. I'm presenting at the end of September in LA Con about Superman and service animals, crypto, and the humanity of being Superman. And then I also presenting about Stranger Things because the new season is coming up. So we are presenting in LA Con. And I have some projects with Hero Journey, which is I am part of the board, And also, from time to time, I will pop to different colleges and communities where I do talks about mental health, pop culture, and how to stay healthy in universities.
That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We'll do our best to plug all those things and to put them on all the stuff. We're going to have to grab some photos from you, put it on the website. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do our best to spread it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Big fan. So thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you for coming on. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah. All right. And with that, I'm Spencer. That's Nas, Different Spectrums Podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
It's completely up to you. Peace.
And do some mindfulness. Bye.